Hi, I'm Jason McAteer and you're watching the Redmen TV.
Hello, welcome. It's the Uncensored match build-up show. The Europa League is back. I'm more excited about this than I have been in years. I want to see if my panel feel the same way. Of course, Chris Pajak's here. Why wouldn't he be? Matt Ladson from This Is Anfield is here, and Mark McGowan is back as well. I've nearly just taken Robbie and the gnome out. Let's get started. Simple question to start off, Chris. Do you think Jurgen Klopp's going to take the Europa League more seriously than Brendan Rodgers did?
Yes, I think he will do.
Yeah.
I think he's got to. You know, he's not got. I think he should anyway, and I think he will do.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got to. I think Brendan Rodgers proved you don't have to take the Europa League seriously. But you know, he's trying to cultivate a winning mentality.
This is the Liverpool manager who got the sack.
Yeah, but he's trying.
Did he prove?
Jurgen Klopp is trying to cultivate a winning mentality, and you do that by winning games, whatever competition they're in.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. I think he will take it seriously. I think he will.
I really hope he does, Matt. I don't know how you feel about this, because the Europa League, I go all over the place on the Europa League. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, you know, let's just go and let's do it and let's put our best team out and let's win it. And then I'm sat watching us play some no-mark team in the arse end of Eastern Europe at R5 on a Thursday on a dreadful channel, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? What have we become? Let's just get out of this so we can focus on the real football. Where do you stand on it?
Well, I think that Klopp has to take it more seriously, because we've only drawn the first two games, and our next one is away to Russia.
Yeah.
You know, so he has to, but I think Rodgers would have had to have taken this one more seriously. Whether he would have taken it more seriously, like in the preceding games, and say we've got it wrapped up. But you know, it'd be nice to win this one and then maybe leave a couple of players at home on the away game, and then just kind of wrap it up with the last two.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that he'll take it more seriously than Rodgers has. But I think also Rodgers would have taken this game more seriously.
I suppose that's the point, isn't it, Matt, to some extent? And it's probably a bit unfair to talk about Brendan Rodgers again in this. I've done that a lot this week. There's a good chance Brendan Rodgers would have put a full strength side out, but equally, you know, Southampton at the weekend, the league form is as important as anything. One of the good things about changing the manager, I guess, to some extent, is we're going to be more forgiving one way or the other. And I think that Klopp will come in and he will just use this as another chance to get the players used to the way he wants the football to be played.
Yeah, well, I think he'll look at the two other Europa League results. They were both 1-1, weren't they? And he'll go, right, I think he'll go, right, we're getting a win here. And I want it to be an emphatic win. I want it to be like 3-4-0 or something like that, which is I do
that every week.
Yeah, well, but no, I think he'll take it more seriously. But it's also another. We know he hasn't had much time with the squad and the cut squad, but it's another game for him to see what the players are about, and it's another game for the players to work out what he's about. And I mean, Southampton is at the weekend, but I'd put maybe not full strength squad out for Thursday, but certainly a strong squad, because I want to win there. Because if we go out with the Europa League at the group stages, that's just fucking wank.
No, I'd go full strength, mate. And sort of picking up on your point, Mark, is that it's another game for his players to play together in the way that he wants them to play together. I think we'll be in a better position for Southampton with 90 minutes under our belt playing together. I think it's important that these players get used to where they're playing, who they're playing with a back four, you know, and we're only going to be better in the Premier League for having another 90 minutes experience under our belts.
I think we need to remember as well that, and I get this a lot in the comments from football fans outside of this country, is that people like the Europa League outside of England. It's just us where we've been sold on this, you know, the Premier League's amazing, the Champions League is it rhetoric. Whereas, you know, European competitions are where it's at for most professionals in the game. That's where you prove yourself. And I think Jurgen Klopp will have, whether he thinks he can absolutely win it or not, kind of irrelevant. I think he will be looking at it and going, well, I'm a manager, I want to test myself at every level. You know, he's gotten to a Champions League final. He'll be looking at that and thinking, if I can get Dortmund to a Champions League final, I can definitely get Liverpool in and around a Europa League final in my first season, and it still comes back to it as well. I said this at the start of the season. If we need to have a good showing in Europe, we need to get experience. We need to play as much European football as possible, because what is the point of getting into the Champions League if your players don't know how to handle themselves in Europe, and your coaching staff don't know how to deal with European games week in, week out? It's fucking pointless, because we're going to get embarrassed in the Champions League next season. Do your best in this one. Just going back, Chris, to a point we made on the Final Word show about Origi and Sturridge, I thought it might be a little bit telling that the Klopp mentioned that Sturridge would be fit for Thursday, whereas I don't think he'd have been in anywhere. I don't think the Europa League he was going to be used at all this season under Rodgers.
No, I agree with that, and it maybe we got a glimpse into how Klopp thinks of this competition, because I think if he's thinking, oh, you know what, if Sturridge is available Thursday and I play him, then that tells you all you need to know about how he is going to take the Europa League this season. And I fully agree with you on the experience thing. We need to be able to get used to travelling as a squad, going playing in a midweek game, coming back, blah blah blah. I know these 2 games are at home and stuff, but the longer we can stay in the competition, the better it is for next season for us if we get European football, because there's no point turning up to Europa League and going out the first stage, and there's no point next season if we manage to get Champions League football of going out the first hurdle there. Klopp wants success. That's not relative to just the Premier League. He'll want success in the Capital One Cup, he'll want success in the FA Cup, the Europa League, every competition he's in, he'll want to test himself.
I'm also, Matt, loads more confident that, say Sturridge plays 90 minutes on Thursday, let's just say, I got no problem with Divock Origi starting the game against Southampton.
Yeah, it's like we were saying in the Final Word show, really, that would have been the concern that Rodgers would have if he was going into Thursday. Oh, should I play Sturridge, but then I need him Sunday? Whereas Klopp's like, well, it's all right, we'll go with Origi on Sunday if we have to. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see Sturridge play, or maybe just be on the bench and be there in reserve, but play some part. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Really, is I think it might have been Didi Aman that was saying recently about the Champions League final 2005 and how him and Gerrard and Hoopier, Carragher, they'd all been involved in 2001 and beating decent teams on the way to the UEFA Cup final and winning it, and that experience helped them through. And I think that now we are at that stage where we need to be doing that, because it was an abomination last season in both competitions. Yeah. And our coefficients deteriorating by every year that we're in Europe. Yeah. So we need to take it seriously. I think that that's not to say that Rodgers was wrong to play the teams that he did, because I think that actually that was the right idea. I think that we had enough to scrape through this group and then start taking it seriously. Yeah. But because we've ended up drawing those two, maybe because the squad had no faith in their manager, the players that were picked, and vice versa.
Maybe the teams we're playing are actually better than we think they are.
A little bit, but
well, I say better, but you always come up against teams that you perceive to be lesser than you when you're Liverpool. It just means that those teams are going to end up working harder than you.
Well, it's going to be interesting when we play away to Sion, because they bossed it against us for most of the game. Now, if we go there with a pretty, sort of rotated squad and hammer them, then it's going to be well, that's a really good test of the difference in the management and the approach.
I'm just sick of, and this is not just a Brendan Rodgers thing, we've seen a lot of this happening with the Europa League. I'm sick of going in with these fucking wet lettuce handshakes of a fucking team. You know what I mean? Where going in with just really like a creepy handshake, when you don't get a full grip on it. It's like, either fucking shake their hand or fucking don't shake their hand, you know what I mean? But I just get the impression from Klopp is that he's going to go in and give a fucking bear hug to every team he meets, you know what I mean? He's going to go out and get the team pumped up and fired up and fucking go for it regardless. Yeah. And that's what I want to see from this. I'm sick of these, we'll rest this guy here and we won't go full, and we'll put him on the bench and all that, and you'd end up with a really limp, just flaccid Liverpool performance. Go in fully cocked. Yeah. Though, some pun intended. Every time.
I would kind of think of Klopp as the kind of person that he doesn't care what competition it is. He doesn't need to know. He needs to know where we're playing, who we're playing, and then
how he's getting there.
Yeah. And if someone says Capital One Cup, I don't give a shit. It's there's a team out there that we need
for us to destroy.
Yeah, let's fucking destroy them. which is like it's not a bad thing to have. I mean, say if we did have a full strength squad against Rubin Kazan or whatever, and then it's Southampton. And then
who are they?
And then
we should be beaten then. Put the second string out.
And then we get to Southampton and we're burnt out or whatever, which I don't think's going to happen. Like you said with Sturridge, I'd be happy for him to play 80-90 minutes on Thursday, and then, like you said before in the final word show, like Origi just run the arse off Southampton's back four, and then Sturridge come on for the last 20 minutes and run rings around them. I'd be very happy with that.
Because it's the big question, I guess. We were watching the highlights of Spurs back before we filmed the final word show, Chris, and the bench come up and we had a little giggle at that because that bench was just terrifying. Terrifying. I mean, this is the fact of the matter is we've got major injuries at the moment, so there's not too much rotation we can do in fairness.
No, and regardless, as I said at the top, so I don't think he should be anyway. You know, I really do believe that earlier on in the season, if we'd have played stronger sides against Bordeaux and Sion, would be better placed up the league because of it. Because I do always think that if you can get a win in Europe, you're in a better place to get a win in the weekend in the Premier League, because winning breeds winning. It always has done and it always will do. You know, it could be a blessing in disguise, this, because if his hands are tied, he doesn't have those decisions to make.
Yeah.
He can put his best side out, and then hopefully, look, we're not travelling. It's a home game on Thursday, and it's a home game late on Sunday.
Yeah.
We can go out there and beat Southampton at home.
Well, that's it. Create a bit of a siege mentality as well, Matt, and say, look, I know it's going to be. I do feel like it crept into the players' mentalities a little bit. You know, all the stale and stuff was the perfect example of that. As like, don't burn yourselves out. Whereas Jurgen Klopp's talked a lot about finding the limits of each of his players and then pushing them beyond that. And it wouldn't surprise me if he did say to these guys, you know what, the squad is thin. We're gonna get through this, and by the powers of man, motivation alone, he'll probably drag most of the players.
Here's a question for you, right? How do you improve someone's fitness? You make them do more, don't you? You know, how are Liverpool going to improve their fitness under Rodgers if they're just playing one game a week?
And having 2 days off.
And having 2 days off. You're not going to improve the fitness by doing that. You improve by pushing yourself.
Yeah.
You improve by working those muscles harder.
Yeah.
But then you are putting them under more stress, and we've already got a
Wins,
squad with like
points.
10 injuries.
No, go and get points.
I think Chris's 1980s physio training techniques, I think there's clearly a balance, because you don't chuck sports science out the window for the sake of like fucking blindly throwing people through the fucking meat grinder.
I would.
But in terms of people are going to pick up injuries. You find out the way you still push, but then there'll be something in between Thursday and Sunday that gives you the ability
I
to
just
do that.
hate this idea when we go into the Europa League. It's like, we'll play weekend sides, but we'll get through in the end because we're going to do it at the back end of the group. If you need to do that, go and get your points early and then fucking shut up shop. Yeah. It's much easier to do it like that when everybody's fucking doing the flip side of things.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Who, if anyone, does come in for you then, Matt?
Depends who's back available. I mean, Benteke, Firmino, Sturridge could all be available.
Let's presume there's no one new added to that squad from the weekend. Is there anyone that was on the bench that you would chuck in?
Joe Allen, Jordan Ibe. I think that we spoke about Sturridge enough that, you know, if he's fit enough he would come in. But from the bench, they're probably the only two. Toure maybe. And take Skirtle out because he can't be any worse.
You have watched Toure, right?
I'm thinking 2004 Toure. No, I mean, like, Joe Gomez's injury is a major problem. Yeah. Like, people think, no, gutted, like, would have loved to have seen him at centre back. Well, the bigger problem is that we've got no full-backs now. Like, we only have the two that start. Yeah. That's it. And when we went wing-backs, at least, like, Ibe could... I'm not saying I liked Ibe playing as wing-back, but he could play and give one of them a rest. Yeah. And, you know, in the last game he did 45 each, and that was pre-planned. Well, now it's like...
do the reverse line.
You know, he's doing... it's like literally they're the only two full-backs at the football club now. And they will have to play Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Be interesting to know, what was the name of the is it Trent? What's his face? Trent Alexander? Is it?
Yeah, he started against Swindon in pre-season.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's a centre half as well, or a centre mid. He played right back against Swindon, didn't he? And, you know, you've got as many of these kids.
I think there's more chance like Conor Randall, who's been in and around the squad. Like he could maybe come in, and I think that he'll be involved, and that wouldn't be a bad idea. And I mean, Klein has played left back before for Palace and Southampton. So, you know, there's a chance like you play Randall and then you do Klein and Moreno like 45 each at left back. Mm-hmm. But it is a bit of a concern. Like if one of them picks up an injury, we're really struggling and very limited for options. So, yeah, I think that it only makes sense that you'd bring Allen into midfield.
It's like with Captain Killer in charge of fitness. Like.
It's the only area of the squad where we have actually got bodies at the moment. So yeah, you've got to bring him in.
Yeah. What about Mark? Anyone you
I agree. I think I definitely bring Ibe in, do more of what he did.
Who's Zag going for? Lallana, Coutinho.
Milner.
I think Coutinho, because I think if there's going to be any competition for Adam Lallana, I think it's going to be the Europa League. As he scored, was it 2 goals? Has he scored both 4 goals or one?
Great question.
I think he's the current top goal scorer in Europe, right?
Definitely know the answer to that.
No, in the current Liverpool squad, I think he's our top goal scorer in Europe.
Wow.
Being competition. Which is really depressing.
It is really depressing. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I think, because maybe Milner to rotate out.
I would put
an
Allen in for a Milner.
Allen.
Because Milner, as you said on the final word, he looked fucking goosed at the weekend. Like he looked like just knackered.
He started like every game, has he not? Every single game, you know. And yeah, I'd do Allen for Lucas and Ibe for Milner, and play a little bit more. Like rather than the 3-2, I'd go 2-3.
Yeah. Great. Okay, I'm interested to know what people at home think. Is there anyone you really want to see get some game time in the Europa League, particularly now? Would you go for Captain Hamstring Killers? Would you just press them? I think there's a reasonable case to be made for both approaches, really. If anyone comes in, who comes in? If anyone doesn't come in, why? Let us know what you're thinking. And any tips you have for the fitness of Liverpool's squad, let us know in the comments below as well. So some score predictions, Mark?
2-0.
I like a 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0.
1-0.
1-0.
Liverpool.
I like the sound of a 2-0. I'll have a 2-0 as well. Okay, score predictions in the comments below. Any thoughts you have as well in general in the comments below as well. Don't forget to check out were you at the press conference?
Yes.
Ahead of this?
And some training footage.
Excellent. Had some training footage for. Get on here. Yeah, get on This Is Anfield's YouTube channel as well. Presumably youtube.com/This Is Anfield. Simple as that. Yes. The branding works. You got onto that one quickly, like not like Instagram.
Nah. Somebody stole that.
Great. Yeah, give the video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and, of course, Matt's YouTube channel as well. Check out the redmentv.com for more in-depth, full-length shows. They're amazing this week. We've done the final word show looking back on the previous game, of course, and looking ahead, we're going to have a formation show, and we'll do some of the special things as well, which we haven't decided at the time of filming, but it's good. Thanks for watching. Ta-da. We've got Chris Pajak, of course. We've got the returning Matt Ladson, the supremo behind thisisanfield.com, and the returning Mark McGowan, who doesn't get anywhere near as exciting an introduction, other than the fact that we're chuffed that his beard's gone, because he looks 10 years younger. You sexy bastard. Yeah. So yeah.
He's got as red as his shirt.
No. Welcome back, mate. Gutted you came on already.
Yeah. It's like retake.
Yeah. So we'll give Mark a minute to calm down, and we'll start with Chris Pajak.